where there was none. You saved the day. I'm forgiven, defeated death. You are risen, Jesus. Created light in the darkness. You are my strength and my fortress, the one true God. You are glorious, Jesus. Jesus, the rock on which I stand, I won't be shaken. You hold me in your hands, I trust in you. Provider, you care for me like no other, the Prince of Peace, my protector, Jesus. God's spotless Son, perfect Savior, dealt with my sin. I'm a failure, my living hope. No one's greater, Jesus. I stand, I won't be shaken. You hold me in your hands, I trust in you. Jesus. I will not fear, for you are here. You are here. I will not fear, for you are here, for you are here. I will not fear, for you are here, for you are here. I will not fear, for you are here, for you are here. I will not fear, for you are here. Hello everybody and welcome to Socially Distanced Live. New Music Friday. It's not a socially distanced sound check, but we've had a heck of a lot of problems behind the scene. We should have been on air at 8 o'clock, so apologies for all of that, and thank you for sticking with us. We've got a fantastic show for you tonight. We have got some special guests from Ireland and from Cardiff, and two of my favourite places in the world, even though I've not been to one. But I've been to the other many times. So good evening, welcome to Socially Distanced Live, New Music Friday with me, Rob Westall. And please say hello because, hey, it's socially distanced. Physically, we're distant, but socially, we can, because due to the wonders of modern technology, we can be social. So let's see who's on tonight then, and let's have a look. So evening to Caroline Crawford, who may or may not be coming on very shortly indeed. And Tabitha. Hi, Tabitha. Thank you very much for that vocal submission, by the way. That was awesome. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. Thank you, Tabitha. And Janice Jones, hello from Hereford. John and Janice Jones. There we are. Hello to Sharon Ewers. Hi, Sharon. Hope you and the family are well. Steve Quantick, who we may be hearing from shortly as well. There you go. So today I've been in the studio, and many of you may have seen the posts I did appealing for voices. So we were recording a track for the new album, the Thousand Voices project, which you can pre-order, and I did have a graphic for it, but everything's gone wrong tonight, so I've not got the graphic for it. But I needed 100 voices minimum to recreate a crowd vocal. Now that's just like a congregation singing on a worship record. And normally, of course, we'd get everybody in a building on a Sunday morning. Perhaps I'd record people at church, and we'd do it that way, and it would be done in one take, job done. But because of social distancing, etc., I needed people to record themselves remotely and individually. And it was really funny because we recorded. I had all these recordings coming in of people just singing the chorus of the song. And then the producer, Gary, did an amazing job. And it sounds like a proper congregation, which it is. He's just basically put all of the voices together, lined them all up. And just, it sounds incredible. And I cannot wait to share the song with you. We were working until very, very late tonight, about 7 o'clock. I got home and can't wait to share the track with you. And also, just to let you know, I've got a new single out, came out on Sunday, and it's called I Will Trust in You, featuring Katy Treharne. Please check it out. There's also the other 3 singles as well, Never Let Me Go, Jesus Rockin' Which I Stand, which you've just heard, and you can also pre-order the album from that link as well. But if you're on Spotify, please follow me. It means a lot and does help the algorithm and all that malarkey. But anyway, enough of all that. How are you all doing? Let us know in the comments. And if you've got any questions for our guests, including a certain Louise Campbell who's just commented there, who may or may not be coming on later, please tap them in. We've got fantastic new music from Wide Worship. We've got music from Louise Campbell. It's going to be a right old gurn. For those of you who don't know what gurn is, it's my sort of slang word for a right good laugh. So let's, without further ado, get some of our guests on, and I've got to remember which button to press now. Let's see if I've done this right. Caroline Crawford, hello.
Hello.
How are you? How's life in Ireland?
Good. We had sunshine this morning and we had snow this afternoon, and now we're just having a nice sunset as I'm speaking to you guys. So yeah, life is good. Thanks so much for having me on.
Nice one. And just to explain to our viewers, there is a slight delay on the line, so Caroline's not being rude when she's not answering straight away. It's just the 1 second delay. So Tabitha says, "Eek!" I can't do that. Hey, Carly. Is Carly your nickname then, Caroline?
Yeah, a lot of people call me Carly.
And love your hair. So is I take it that's not a lockdown haircut then? It
might be. Yeah, I had to go with the hair dye and the scissors, and this is what I come up with. So
fair play.
Hence the waves.
Well, hey,
trying to disguise some of the randomness.
Well, I'm desperate for a cut, as you can see. So and a dye on these old white bits coming through. That's not good. So yeah, there could be a new diversification career there for you, Caroline. I think that's fantastic. So welcome. So you've got a brand new single out. Tell us all about the song, and we're going to get somebody who's played on the record, who I know very well, but you've never met properly in person.
That's right. And it's just testimony to how far we've come during lockdown, how you can record and create songs with people who you have never met. But technology is a wonderful thing and has enabled us to do that. But yes, I released a song on Wednesday with the Wired Worship crew, and it is called Sit a While With Me. It's the prophetic voice of God, in a nutshell. And we as a collective met to pray, just over the summer whenever the restrictions and lockdown had lifted a little bit. And, it was just, one of those things. We hadn't seen each other in quite some time, and we just decided, let's set aside some time to just really seek God for the direction of the collective. We didn't even plan to write songs that night. And it just, I bring the guitar. I'm sure you're probably the same, Rob. You bring it everywhere you go, yeah. And you always end up playing it and singing something. So I brought the guitar with me, and one of my friends, Emma Green, she's a phenomenal songwriter and singer, and she looked at me and says, "Sing a new song." And all of a sudden I just felt on my spirit these lyrics just flow that says, "Rest, my beloved, come along and come and find your rest in me." And this went on through a couple of different choruses, "Sing, my beloved, come and find your song in me. Rejoice, my beloved, come and find your joy in me." And it was an incredible thing, because it really reminded me about the story of Mary and Martha, who were two sisters that the two sisters of Lazarus. And Martha, she had invited Jesus and his followers around for a meal, and that was normal enough back then. You invite people around, you make their dinner, there's a bit of fussing, there's a lot of work that goes on, to achieve that. And she was doing a lot of the work in the kitchen by herself, and approached Jesus and says, "Look, my sister's sitting there at your feet, and it's not fair. I have a lot to do in my own. Tell her to get up and help me in the kitchen." And Martha, she always gets a bad rap for that. It never goes down well. Jesus told her, "Look, you know what? Basically, stop worrying. She's chosen the right portion, and that will not be taken from her." But it got me to thinking about life back then, life now. We do have responsibilities when we invite people around for hospitality and community. That's a good thing. It's a wonderful thing, and there's work and there's planning and things that go into that. But we should never let our responsibilities, no matter what they are, get in the way of spending time with Jesus. And that's really the essence of the song, to just set everything aside and just go and sit a while with him.
Fantastic. I really want to discuss that later on as well, and delve a little bit deeper into the premise of the song and that theme, because it's been something that's been speaking to me recently as well, about the, forget everything else, just spend time with Jesus kind of thing. Because throughout lockdown, I've been insanely busy, more busier than before lockdown. So that's such an important thing that you've picked up on, because soon, of course, life is going to return to some kind of normalcy, if that's even a word. but yeah, it's going to get back to normal, and we'll forget everything. And I think now is a real chance to get serious and get our houses in order and our priorities in the right order, because before, everything was so frantic that we just, it was certainly for me, and it's sort of like recently it's been like, well, hang on now, take a break, take a chill pill. Where's God in all of this? And there were several times during lockdown where I realised that I wasn't in line with the cornerstone. I wasn't. Some of my foundations were on dodgy ground, and that was a bit of a shock. So it's good sometimes to have that press pause, reflect, and see what's going on. Weirdly enough, I did say we'd delve deeper in a minute, but I just want to mention this very quickly. I saw a film called Resurrection, which is on Discovery Plus, and I don't mind advertising it because it's a fantastic film, and it's all about the death of Jesus, but it centres, of course, on that waiting period and ultimately Jesus' resurrection, and what he went through. And what struck me about it was, one of the things that struck me about it, there's loads that struck me about the film, was that basically we can be quite spiritual. We can, as Christians, we can think, I'm doing well, I'm on fire for God, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But it just rammed home how important communion is, and remembering the cross, because it was quite brutal in parts, that film, and I'm not gonna be ashamed to say that it made me cry, and it brought the reality of what Jesus went through home, and the depth and the magnitude of his love. It's just incredible. But we'll delve deeper, because I'll start crying now, and that's not cool. I've always wanted to be like sort of, one of these TV hosts that sort of, I don't know, set up surprises and reunions. But I want to introduce you now to somebody called Mr. Steve Quantick, who you've sort of worked with but never actually met. So you can meet now. So here you go. Caroline meets Steve. Steve meet Caroline.
Hello.
Hi, Caroline. So good to meet you.
You too. Oh, this is awesome. And what's lovely too is that Rob was the person that put us in touch anyway. So Rob is, getting us to meet properly as well, which is lovely.
Yeah, it's all come full circle.
Brilliant. So Steve, Steve obviously plays guitar with me. He's a world-class guitar player, and we write songs together, and we're best buddies. And Caroline, you wanted a guitar player, and I was like, it was actually, do you know a guitar player? And I was like, well, funnily enough, I know just that.
That's right. That's right. I mean, literally, I just messaged you and got a phone call immediately. It's like, actually, yes, I know exactly who you need. And it was just, it was such a blessing. God works in the most wonderful ways to bring people along that you need. And, Steve was just exactly what I was looking for, and his style and his excellence, and he just caught the vision of the song straight away, and it was absolutely epic. So thank you for that, Rob. Thank you, Steve, for
my pleasure.
being part of the song, but thank you for introducing us.
Tabitha says, woohoo, hey Steve, legendary guitarist, with a guitar emoji there. Anna, my wife, says hello to you both. There you go.
Hi.
That's Tabitha. Sorry, my voice was just dried up then because I knew I was going to speak. So I was like, hello.
Well, Stevie, I love the song. Guys, we're going to listen to this song very shortly. I can't wait to share it with you. It's a fantastic worship song. It certainly blessed me. And I even was honoured to hear a demo that Caroline sent me before, of course, I connected you guys. So Steve, what was your first impressions when you heard the song, and what do you think about the song?
Yeah, I think I did just kind of catch, the obviously I hadn't really heard, didn't really know anything about the song until I heard it for the first time, and Caroline had put some guitar ideas on it, gave me a really kind of clear idea of where to go dynamically and in terms of where and when to play parts. So actually, I was able to just, as the song says, just rest and just let the song minister to me. Brilliant. And I was able to, so I really kind of caught the heart of the song straight away. And I think it is just the whole central idea, like you say, lockdown has been a time, at times of great inactivity, but also a time of heightened activity as well, was somehow kind of more and less busy, and busy with different things. And so it was actually just really nice to take a bit of time out of my day and just to immerse myself in this song. And I found it very therapeutic, kind of just creating guitar textures and kind of layering parts and kind of hearing them come together, and I find it really really restful, really nice. And there was a lot of kind of really obvious good space for me to fill, and I had some really good input from Caroline about what was kind of expected. So I just thought it was just such a beautiful song, and it was just so great just to kind of serve it and elevate it in whatever way I could with my guitar.
Marvellous. Well, we're going to hear that. This, of course, is New Music Friday, despite what the title says. It's not a socially distant sound check. It is New Music Friday, so we are going to hear that in just a moment, and it was out this week on Wednesday, of course. Caroline, how about yourself? I mean, why did you want a guitar on it, and what you obviously had the song prepared? What state was the song in when you got in touch, and what exactly did you need, and what were you looking for?
Oh gosh, it was an idea, I think, for that. But at the very, very start, when I first approached you, literally, as I said, it was me playing on my guitar one night in the middle of prayer, and the guys singing along with me and doing a few harmonies. And what's amazing about whenever a song is birthed in the middle of a spontaneous time of worship, it normally works really well for worship going forward. And the guys who I was with, Emma, Tabitha, Stephen, they really contributed in terms of harmonies and different counter melodies and things. But I think by that stage I was just starting to work on a demo, and the way that my mind works, I just have to do something and listen to it over and over and over and say, right, God, what are you saying? Where's this going? Should that be moved? And just really, you catch it in the moment, you catch your song in the moment, but then you really have to get with God and fine tune it and say, right, what is the final product here? What do you want us to share with the world? But there's something I think you know me. I love Ireland, like you guys love Wales, and there's something in the sound of this nation that I believe that God has called us to release as part of Wired Worship. And there's a lot of traditional Irish instruments and things as part of that as well. There's a tin whistle. Absolutely, and there's a couple of different drums and things, but it just needed that sound that Stephen created to pull the whole thing together and just make it fit and make it work, and he did a phenomenal job.
It's so much fun to play for it.
Without casting stereotypes, referring to you two, is Steve the Edge for Wired Worship?
I love it. He's better.
Wonderful. Well, let's have a listen to it. Caroline, would you do me the honour and introduce the song? And we're going to hear a fantastic worship song. I pray that it blesses you.
I would love to. This is Sit a While With Me by Wired Worship.
Rest
Brilliant. And that was absolutely fantastic. The new single there from Wired Worship, and Louise Campbell, who I think we might... Yeah, we'll dial Louise up in a moment, see if she's online to talk to her properly. But she says,
see if she's around.
see if she's around. I'm sure she is somewhere. Says, absolutely love the guitar on this. Adds such a beautiful depth to an already stunning song. Absolutely amazing.
Very kind, thank you.
Tabitha says, my fave song, and I think Tabitha is in Wired Worship, aren't you? And Tabitha, thank you for sending that vocal across today. Thank you very much indeed. Beautiful says John and Janice Jones in Hereford. That's actually my mother-in-law's account, but I know my father-in-law watches on it, so that's why I say John and Janice Jones. Just you know. I don't know what the Penguins are about though, Janice. Perhaps you could enlighten us for that. Fantastic, says Anna Westall. That was lovely, says Sharon Ewers. It absolutely was, and not biased at all, says Tabitha. Absolutely amazing. Who said this? Okay. Woohoo, hey, Steve, legendary guitarist. You are a legendary guitarist, and legendary guitarists have legendary instruments, and you've got to go and pick up a new guitar, haven't you, Steve?
Yes, I've had a new baritone built for me, and it's being dropped off very soon.
You sent me a picture of it earlier, and it's got a massive neck.
It does.
I said, wind your neck in, Quantick.
I know. Anybody who knows anything about guitars, it's a 30-inch scale length, so it's not far off the size of a bass. So it's just going to be, it's partly, I mean, it'd be really nice for like leading worship and stuff because it adds different tonality, but I am mostly going to be using it for my hardcore band to write very, very sludgy riffs.
Nice. Well, looking forward to that, mate. And that's We Are Revival, isn't it? And you writing with them this week?
That's right, yeah. I've been writing some new material. Wrote my first song in 7/4 time signature this week.
Oh my god,
which is very exciting. And in the Rob Westall band group chat, there's a very big geek out happening about time signatures. But yes, that
and bizarrely,
really
we were editing the song. We've actually edited part of the gap to a 2 out of 4 beat, so we did change the timing.
I was going to say, I thought there was a bit of a compressed bar there, but yeah. So new guitar is arriving at like any moment, really.
Marvelous. Well, I'll let you get off to thank you so much for coming on, and incredible song. And Frantics have got something before you go, haven't they, as well, coming out shortly? You and your sister.
Yes, we do. First of all, just before I go, I just want to say thank you to you, Rob, for connecting me up with Caroline for the amazing song, and everybody in the comments who has been so kind. I really appreciate it. So I have apart from my screamo hardcore band, I have a rock and pop band outfit with my sister. My output is nothing if not diverse, and the EP that we recorded over the first lockdown is in the final stages of being mixed. So keep an eye out on the Frantics on Instagram, spelt FRANTICKS. We'll be releasing that EP as soon as it's ready, as soon as my brother-in-law can finish mixing it.
Right, guys, we're going to keep you up to date. Steve's part of our family, so we will be sharing, of course, anything that they do and promoting it, of course, so keep an eye on all the socials as well. There's also the Deconstructing Worship podcast you can check out as well, which Steve and Kyle, who also plays with me as well, it's a fantastic podcast just looking at worship. And well, Steve, very quickly before you go, tell our viewers about it.
Yeah, so the Deconstructing Worship podcast is it's a series of constructive and positive conversations about like worship culture, because we were not interested in starting a podcast where people just whinge about worship music and worship culture, because there are plenty of opportunities to do that. Comment sections are for that, our podcast is where we meet a different guest every single week, and we just chat to them about constructive ways forward, like things that are great about worship culture, things that perhaps aren't working so well and could be changed going forward, and kind of just release us into greater freedom as we worship our worthy God.
Absolutely, and it's sort of along the same theme of what we've been talking about tonight, where this is a chance for us to reflect and look at things and have honest discussions and say, Lord, what's next? And enter into that. Steve, I know you got to go, so I won't carry on down that road, but thank you very much for coming on tonight, and love to you, Katy, and the family.
Yes, thanks for having me, mate. I'll see you soon.
Take care, Stevie. Steve Quantick there, and my special guest tonight, Caroline. That was a fantastic song. The comments said so as well. So what's next for you? What are you working on, and what are you up to?
Oh gosh, well, we've got very clear instruction from God to just write, record, release. Write a song, record a song, release a song. So
that's great.
Last year, last year, Louise Campbell, who may or may not be on, I don't want to spoil anything, but she was part of a group of people who we put together an album, and that was a phenomenal experience. And it's it's great that it's there, but I felt really that there was going to be a change in direction, and rather than release a group of songs immediately, we're actually just going to release one song and then the next song and then the next song. And my heart for inclusion. I like to give everybody an opportunity to be a part of what we do at Wired Worship and involve as many artists from our nation and beyond as possible. So that'll be just little individual projects ongoing in the background with different people involved. So yeah, hopefully have more stuff coming out in May with Chris Boanka, who is also part of the Songs to Noel with me, and he and I have been writing together, and Tabitha has jumped on with that as well, who I know is in the comments and has heard some of the latest stuff we're doing. And yes, so that's what we're up to.
Great, sounds exciting.
While we get out of lockdown.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's a similar approach to myself. So I've released a single every month in the last 3 months. There won't be one this month, but what I did today will be coming out after that. So yeah, it's very similar to me, just to get the stuff coming out, because there's lots and lots that God's downloading. I'm downloading from God, rather. So no, wicked. That's awesome. Now, like you said, there may or may not be somebody online. Louise Campbell, are you there?
Hello.
How you doing, Louise?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Really, really good to be here. How are you guys doing?
Very good indeed. Now, you're part of the Wired Worship Collective as well, aren't you?
I am indeed, yes.
So you actually know each other quite well, and you've got a nickname for Caroline, which before we came on air, I was party to. Carly.
Well, she goes by Carly or Caro. Yeah.
Or Caro.
Caro.
Yeah.
Anything really. I get blonde at the odd time as well.
She's also my go-to person when things don't work. I'll be like, Carly, what are you doing?
Oh, amazing. I mean, the real heart of unity comes out with Wired, and that's why I love you guys. And one of the reasons why I love you guys. And Tabitha says, hey, Louise, you're looking amazing. Anna says, loving all the guests tonight. Welcome, Louise. And
thank you very much.
Yes, our Carly Crawford. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good nickname. So, guys, if you want to give us all nicknames tonight, put them in the comment section, and there'll be not a prize, but maybe like the accolade of we'll choose a winner. There you go. Keep them clean though. So, Louise, where are you based? Because I know Caroline's near Donegal in Ireland. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm sure that's where you're based. Where are you based?
Yeah, so I'm based in Derry in Northern Ireland, but Derry and Donegal are neighbours. So Caroline and I are actually only about 20 minutes apart in different countries.
Incredible. And what about yourself? You're a songwriter yourself. We in fact were on a songwriting session the other week, weren't we?
Yes.
Which we've got to finish that song, by the way. I keep forgetting about that.
We do. I keep singing it. It's going to be mighty. I'm a singer-songwriter. I've done some work with Wired, and I'm working on my own EP. But I have to say, Caroline and the Wired crew were such a big catalyst in me being probably brave enough to try and put it out there. I met the Wired guys at a worship night. I got chatting to them, and then somehow kind of ended up in the middle of it all. So
amazing. Well, hey, let's keep the Wired connection going and listen to one of your songs that you wrote on the album. It's called Everywhere. Please tell us a little bit about the song, the inspiration behind it, and everything else, really.
Well, Everywhere was written on the 7th of March last year, and we had gone into Donegal to do a photo shoot, I was providing some backing vocals for the Wired album, and so we got the whole crew down, and it was just blowing a gale. It was typical Donegal weather. It was Baltic. It was blowing a gale. I was very glad I had short hair. And so we'd done the shoot. We were inside this big circular fort, Greenan Fort, this lovely big stone fort. If ever you have a chance to visit it, go. It's very, very cool. And inside the fort, it wasn't too bad, apart from the wind picking up guitar bags and flying around in circles. And it was just really, really crazy. And we were standing in kind of a rough circle, and we were just jamming. And we'd kind of done all the songs that we could think of, and we were like, oh, what we do now, because we were getting candid photos done. And I just started singing out these lines about how God was here in this place, like the ancient stone walls that surrounded us. And amazing. I kind of laughed, and I looked at Caroline, and I was like, I think you should write this down. So I went home and wrote it down, and I fired it over to Caroline, and Caroline came back to me, and she was like, do you want to record this for the album? And I was like, okay. Okay. And everything, it was just mad how everything fell into place. The photo shoot was just before lockdown kicked in here. So we were in really strict lockdown, and then the next thing, Apple very kindly announced that they were offering Logic for a 3-month free trial. So it was like, let's all download Logic. So Everywhere was recorded here in my wee home studio, and in Caroline's home studio, and in Emma Green's studio as well. So it was completely remotely recorded, and it was Caroline and Emma's magic that brought it all together. And it ended up, it was out in the first half of the album, and it still boggles my mind.
Fantastic. Well, let's have a listen to it now. And just before we do, can you explain the video we're going to see, that the footage on the lyric video is actually of the fort that you were describing, isn't it?
Yes. Well, I think it's just the side of the fort, and it's the view from the fort that you see, the walkway up to it. But it would give you an idea of the weather conditions that we were in.
Sure.
Up on top of this Irish mountain, and it was just there was such a presence, such a spiritual presence of God's power, and it really struck us all that God was there in that moment, just like He was there in the very first days of creation, and just like He will be there, for eternity, long after we're standing on the top of Greenan Fort. So, but yeah, so the photos that the video was on actually come from that day. So yeah.
Well, let's take a look now. Just a quick hello to Jeremy G. Newcastle, who's watching from New York City. Hello, Jeremy. Caroline, Jeremy's in the group that we're on Spotify, by the way, if you might recognise him.
Jeremy, I absolutely loved your song. Absolutely loved it. I think I messaged you about it anyway. But no, I'm going to just say before you play the song as well, course, Louise is an absolutely phenomenal photographer, and she took the images that were actually she took most of the images that were taken that day. And if you see every music video linked to that album, Louise took the picture. Wow. If you actually look at the album cover as well, she set that up. She's in it, so she didn't take it, but she set it up, and she put together the artwork and everything after that. So yeah, she's a very, very gifted woman, and we're so blessed to know her and get to create with her.
Incredible. Well, Louise, would you do me the honours of introducing your song?
Absolutely. Everybody, this is Everywhere by Wired Worship.
You are here, Lord, in this place, like the ancient stone walls you surround us. We'll praise you, Lord, in this place, at the mercy of the gale force when you ground us. You are here, Lord, in the wind that takes our breath away. You are here, Lord, you are here, Lord, here today. We'll praise you, Lord. The mountain tops stood strong on grass and stone. We'll praise you through the stormy winds that you make yourself known. were there, Lord, at the start. At your command you made the world, and man's beating hard, and they praise you, Lord, at the start. Before sin and shame and hurt and pain tore our world apart, you were there, Lord. When they tried to hide from you, you were there, Lord, you were there, Lord, there too. We'll praise you all, the mountain tops, surround on grass and stone. We'll praise you through the stormy wind that you made yourself known. We'll praise you in the valleys when we are burdened by our care. We'll praise you, Lord. Here, there, and everywhere. You are there, Lord, beyond time, waiting patiently for this broken spirit to come home. And I praise you, Lord, beyond time. The plans you have for my life, only to you are known. You are there, Lord, there for all eternity. You are there, Lord, you are there, I hope you see. We praise you all, the mountain tops, strong on grass and stone. We'll praise you through the stormy wind that you make yourself known. We'll praise you in the valleys when we are burdened by our care. We'll praise you, Lord. You're there and every you were there at the start of time. You were there when mankind fell. You came and walked this earth, man, to a cross here you were nailed. You returned to heaven, death was crushed and our future secure. You'll be there for every moment that we dwell in your world. We'll praise you all, the mountain tops, strong on grass and stone. We'll praise you through the stormy wind that you make yourself known. We'll praise you in the valleys when we are burdened by our care. We'll praise you, Lord. You're there and everywhere. You're there and everywhere. Everywhere.
Everywhere by Louise Campbell, written by Louise Campbell by Wide Worship, and on the Wide Worship album you can get that is out now. Fantastic album. Welcome to New Music Friday. Our special guests tonight, we've had Steve Quantick on, we've got the lovely Caroline Crawford and Louise Campbell from Ireland and Northern Ireland, and part of the Wide Worship Collective, some of my favourite people and favourite group out there, and it's great to share their music with you tonight here on Social Distancing Live's New Music Friday. Wonderful song, Louise, absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you very much. As I say, without Caroline and the Wired guys, it probably would have been yet another song that sat in the back of my phone and wouldn't ever have seen the light of day. So
Oh, bless you. So you've written for quite some time?
I have, yeah. I've loved music my whole life. I've taught myself quite a few instruments in that, and I'd written songs years ago. I used to play bass in a rock band many moons ago, and I'd written songs kind of in my late teens, early 20s, and then do you know what? I just kind of stopped, and I can't really give a good reason as to why I stopped, other than life got busy. You know, I got married, had a couple of kids, and that. And then I started getting involved with my church a bit more, and my minister had been kind of badgering me to join the wee worship team in church and stuff, and I found myself starting to dust the guitar down a little bit, and then it was not last year, the year before, I went to Bangor and seen Rend Collective,
wow.
and We Are Messengers live in this beautiful church. It was absolutely phenomenal, and I'm a huge We Are Messengers fan. And I came home that night, and I it was about 12 o'clock at night, and I pulled the guitar and I wrote a song, and I was like, wow, where did this come from? And it was like
Amazing.
the floodgates opened. All the songs that I'd thought about thinking of writing, and all the wee notes in my phone just started tumbling, and it was like the floodgates open, and I couldn't stop it. And there's
Superb.
just been constant momentum since then.
It's great how, you know, music, iron sharpens iron, and like I've often gone to gigs and it just inspires you to write, doesn't it? And I just want to get some comments to you. Great song, said Janice Jones. Ancient Paths Observed, says Catherine Taylor. And Caroline Crawford, I don't know who she is, but she says, absolutely love this song, Louise. You are incredible.
She's not at all
absolutely amazing song, Louise. Absolutely love it. I love it too. Awesome. So everywhere. I mean, there's a bit of a theme tonight, isn't it? Obviously, we've had Sit and Wait a While and Everywhere, about basically just taking a chill pill, pressing the pause button, but knowing that God is everywhere, and He is to be found, and can be found. So if you're watching tonight, just want to say that God loves you. It's no accident that you're tuning in, and He desires you, and He loves you very much indeed. And we're Christians. We believe in Jesus Christ. We have a relationship with Him, and we follow Him because we believe He has a perfect plan and purpose for our lives. And I want to now turn that, and I said, Caroline, do you want to say anything before I move on, actually, on that sort of theme and what we think God's been speaking to us through the music we've been sharing tonight on New Music Friday?
Oh gosh, I think, you know what, God has just pressed in my heart the importance of community. And when I say community, I mean people, the people who are around you. And as you said, iron sharpens iron. Whether you're at a gig and you know the people there, you're just getting inspiration from them, or it's your friends, it's your crew, it's your tribe, the people that you do life with. It's so important to find those people and get around those people and make time for those people and spend time in God's presence together with those people. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that right now.
Marvellous. God bless you. Thank you for sharing that. And Louise, obviously you said, I just wanted to ask a question, actually. What rock band were you in? And you were bass player. Are there somebody famous?
No, unfortunately not. Well, one of our guitarists actually used to play bass for Van Morrison and Billy Ocean and stuff like that. So he was a pretty cool guy. No, he was pretty awesome. I felt absolutely wicked being the bassist of a band with a really good bassist who was also a really good guitarist. So he let me play mediocre bass for 8 years. Oh, really?
What were you called? What was the name of the band?
We were called Phoenix Rising.
That's a good name, Phoenix Rising.
Phoenix Rising, yeah. Phoenix was my nickname.
I'll check them out. Are you on Spotify or anything?
No, do you know what? We're going back now quite a while. So we did do an EP of some original stuff, which I do still have on my computer. So I'll fire you some over.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
And
I'm a
let
rock
you
fan.
have a wee listen. And that, so yeah. Do you know what? It's lovely because I think there's this kind of understanding that Christian music has to be all like kumbaya, happy clapping, woo. And actually, there's such a diverse. I mean, we had Steve talking about his alternative, basically metal worship. I had a friend of mine in the studio the other day. Just he needed to use the gear, and he does basically, it kind of sounds like death metal, but it's Christian death metal, and it's awesome. So
resurrected death metal.
Absolutely, you don't have to lose your identity, and that's what I love about it. You don't just become a Christian and become, like you jokingly said to me earlier on, I'm going to put you in a box here, and it's something I've always laughed because I've always felt like a star shape trying to be fitted into a square box, and it doesn't really work. But there's no checklist that ticks off what makes you a good Christian, and the thing that I love about it is God takes everything. It's something that actually this theme appears an awful lot in what I write, because it blows my mind, because there's nothing that we can give that's enough. There's nothing that we can give that's enough. Yet because of Jesus, whatever we can give, God accepts. You know, he takes whatever little, and sometimes you can give your life wholeheartedly, and sometimes you're a mess on the floor, and you can just give like a whispered, Jesus, I need you, and God steps in, and I think that's just phenomenal.
Absolutely. And Jeremy J. Newcastle says, how assuring it is to know that our Lord is sovereign and all-powerful and all-knowing. It just gives us peace knowing who he is. And on fitting in a box, I think it's more of a rectangle than a square, perhaps. but Tabitha says, that's because you are a star, Louise. So you're only going to fit in a star-shaped box. Incredible. I love that. Thank you, Tabitha. Awesome. Yeah, absolutely agree. And you know what? Music is so powerful, and we're blessed to create music for God and to him and everything else. And what I love about what you just said there about, you know, you can do death metal worship or whatever. God is massive, and he's bigger than one style of music, and to be honest with you, worship has become a little bit of a genre in some circles. But what I like about Wired and you guys and what you do is the authenticity of it all, and it's obvious where the inspiration comes from, and you're authentic, and you just go for it, and you've got a clear vision, and you're obedient to that, and you do it, and it's awesome. And more importantly, I just can't wait to meet you all and worship with you and hang out with you guys, because I think is this the right phrase? It'll be a good crack. I don't know if that's the right phrase or not, but it'll be a good laugh on it. And I think we're kindred spirits. It's great.
I did laugh whenever you says that we were going to have a good gurn, because where we come from, gurning's crying.
Is it crying? Is it? Isn't it funny? I love all this language and all the different sort of phrases and what they mean in our different cultures. Because you said something earlier, Louise, about it being Baltic, and I love that. And I think that means cold. Does it mean really cold?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that was class.
Yes,
I'm going to adopt all this. I'll be speaking Irish before you know it. So there you go. So Catherine Taylor says, our Celtic Christian DNA allows for diversity in how we worship God. He loves the Irish. Absolutely, Catherine. Absolutely, indeed.
Amen, Catherine.
There you go.
Amen.
So Louise, I just want to ask you, obviously you've talked about, you know, as Christians, you know, we can fit in star-shaped boxes if we're stars, such as yourself. But how did you become a Christian? How did you come to faith and have a faith in Jesus?
Well, I'm going to say the first time and the second time, because there was a bit of a gap in between. Do you know what? I first gave my life to God as a 16-year-old doing a Christian outreach team at the Lammas Fair, which is an old country thing here. And I just remember, I think it was just my first real encounter with the Holy Spirit. You know, I'd been going to youth fellowship groups, and I loved the sound of it, but I hadn't felt it. And I remember we were standing on this street, and we were singing Amazing Grace, which is just a beautiful song anyway. And as we sang Bright Shining as the Sun, the clouds parted. It was a thunderously grey day. The clouds parted, and the sun, so much so that even the bypassers were like, you know, and we were like, whoa, you know, and it was really, and I just remember, I have goosebumps now even thinking about it, you know. There was such a presence of God that he stopped people who weren't interested in listening to us, you know. Wow. And they stopped to talk to us about why we're there. And you know what, that was at 16, and, you know, I kind of drifted away from church quite a bit, not really away from God, but if I put my hand on my heart, I was somebody who believed in God and believed that believing in God was enough. And I remember having a conversation with somebody, and they said something that blew my mind, and I love dropping it on like my Sunday school kids and saying, do you know what, is it enough to believe in God? And they were like, yeah, of course, totally. I was like, Satan believes in God. Do you think, is he a Christian? And it was just like, whoa, actually, hold on, maybe believing in him isn't just quite enough. And, you know, kind of years passed down the line and all the rest of it, and I became one of those people who went to church at Easter, Christmas, and the odd wee one in between. And then about it was after my son was born, my youngest kid, and we had a new minister, and he had come to the church, and people have been saying, this guy's not baptizing your kids if you don't come to church. And I was like, oh dear, you know, what, this guy must be a real hardliner. And then he came out and he met with us, and actually he was just this really humble guy who explained kind of about how it all worked. And he was like, you know, we invest ourselves in these families and we never see them again. And I thought, you know what, that took a bit of guts to come in here and just lay it out and that there. So I said to him, do you know what? I'll come as often as I can. I'm not going to be there every week, you know, but I'll come as often as I can. And I did, and I started finding myself lifting the guitar and singing the old, you know, Christian Union songs from years ago, and you know, and God had just started kind of creeping back in. And just before the minister left that day, he spied my very dusty guitar in the corner and says, oh, we have a wee worship team in church and must get you to play for us. This man had never heard me play, had never heard me sing. And it was 15 months in the making before I actually agreed to go and to get involved with the worship team. Wow. And I was at a service. I was actually photographing it for the church because it was the confirmation service for our teenagers. And the bishop was speaking about how sometimes God, whenever he speaks to us, it's not a big shouting voice. It's the wee niggling thought you have in your head. And I'd had this wee niggling thought that I should maybe get involved with the worship team. And I'm going, you know, I had 2 kids under 2, a full-time job and a part-time business.
Wow.
You know, I barely had time to sleep, never mind anything else. But I remember standing at the back of the church and I had the shivers from my head to my toe and going, I really need to join the worship team. And I was like, this feels like massive, but it's not. It's just a band. It mightn't work out, but it feels really big. And do you know what? It ended up being the catalyst on an immensely huge journey. Very short version, I went back to work after maternity leave from my second son and found myself in a really extreme workplace bullying situation that really, really impacted my mental health. I really, really struggled with it. And looking back now, the beauty of it is, with hindsight and not being in the midst of it all, is seeing, because I got involved with the band, the small group of friends that brought. Because I was involved in the band, I got to know more people in my church. And looking back now, seeing how God maneuvered so many people that whenever I fail, I was caught. Yeah. You know, and, you know, like I've got to the point in my life now, I wouldn't change it for the world. There's nothing I would change, because I would still probably be the Easter and Christmas believing Christian, and not the actually living it out and falling down and making a mess and having to come back and having to say, God, I'm sorry, I'm not doing this right. You know, but it's the fact that I now know I can have, you know, I have a 2-way conversation with God. That it's not just, you know, it's not just saying my prayers and trundling through what's familiar. You know, it's actually going, you know, God, I actually can't even find words tonight, so I'm just going to sit here in silence with you and really hope that you speak to me, because, you know, for somebody who talks a lot, sometimes I get really stuck for words, you know. And it's just, you know, it's been a phenomenal journey, and even bringing Caroline into my life. I remember being at a worship night down in a wee place, Limavady, down at 1 Limavady, and I was standing just in the crowd and we were worshiping, and on the way home, I was driving home, and I was like, I need to make sure I'm not pursuing this whole worship thing, because I love music. I have loved music. I think I sang before I could talk, and I've always loved music. And I was like, I need to know that, God, you're in this. This can't be about me just loving to jam with people, because I do love to jam with people. And I was like, God, you know what? I don't have the facilities to demo anything. I don't know where to start. You know, I was like, God, if you're in this, then can you give me a sign, like a neon sign would be really, really something that, you know, my over questioning brain can't say, oh, well, maybe it was something else. And Caroline phoned me on the Monday, and she said that she'd been standing, I hope you don't mind me sharing this, Caroline, but she said that she'd been standing behind me during the worship. She'd been standing behind me in the worship, and as she was driving home on the same journey that I was driving, she just had to drive further. I was praying, God, I need a sign that you're in this. And Caroline was praying about whatever Caroline was praying about, and she said she got a real sense that God was saying, Caroline, you need to reach out to Louise and help her. And Caroline phoned me and she goes, you know, if you want to use the studio, you know what, I'll throw you my keys. You can come and go as you please. And I was sitting there going, okay, I can't really deny that one. And the journey that I had been on up until that point was I was exploring a call to ordained ministry within my church. And I went into it very much going, I really don't know if this is for me. I'm not the most red tapey kind of person. I like to think outside the box. Box is over there somewhere. And I went through the process. I did the foundation course. I did the selection process, and the answer came back that it was a no. I hadn't got through selection. And I remember thinking, right, okay, you know, what does this mean? And that was on the Tuesday. And on Friday, we released the first half of the Wired album that same week. And Caroline messaged me and she goes, just a wee heads up, but Vincent Hughes on UCB Ireland had asked me what song to share first. And she goes, I thought maybe we would share Everywhere. And I'm kind of sitting here going, you know, God knows I need a lot of neon, very clear, irrefutable answers. And he has been so faithful. He has brought so many people into my life that have just upheld me on this journey. You know, another that he's brought is Kat Mills, who I know.
Oh yeah,
Rob, you know very well. Kat has been, again, I was kind of reaching out for mentoring and for help to craft my songs. And I don't even know how we got chatting, but Kat has been an amazing help on this journey. She has worked through my songs with a fine tooth comb, and again, it's just stepping back and looking, going, wow. I mean, you couldn't write the opportunities that God has laid on my doorstep. Even, you know, it's been phenomenal.
That's absolutely incredible. I'm not alone in thinking that as well. Sharon says, fellowship is so important. Amazing testimony, Louise. Thanks for sharing. Praise God.
Yeah, praise God indeed.
Incredible. I love the honesty of what you said as well, you know, because, you know, there's a perception, perhaps it's a wrong perception for sure, that Christians need to be perfect, and what you said about, you know, Caroline touched upon it, the word community, and you had that community with you, you know, and every time I fall, they help me back up, and you know what, we are going to fail and we are going to fall because we're human, and that's part of the journey. You look at kids, and when they fall down, you have to pick them up. They're learning to walk. They fall down all the time as they're learning to walk. So as we're learning to be more Christ-like, we're going to fall all the time. And Anna says, love a neon sign. God is amazing. Anna, does that mean I can get one for the studio? Just confirm that in the comments, please. I really want a neon sign. There you go. Awesome. Hey guys, we're almost out of time tonight, and I just want to thank you so much for coming on. And Ireland has a place in my heart. And on that Friday, actually, Louise, that was when I first spoke to Caroline. She was on Social Distancing Live that very Friday that you
that's
came
right,
out.
yes.
Amazing,
that's right.
isn't it? It's just incredible. But guys, thank you so much for coming on. Louise, tell us about your new EP. You're working on a new EP, and I know for a fact that these things are mega expensive. I had a recording session today, and I'm just investing in it, and I'm going to clear off the money's coming from. But tell us about what you're doing and the vision behind it and the heart behind it first.
Well, all the stuff that I had been working on from those first few songs that kind of poured out of me after meeting like Rain Collective and that, I actually was working towards an album. I had geared up fundraising events and everything, and then COVID hit, and it was like, okay, do you know what? Let's just park that for a little bit. And it gave me a time to explore some means of fundraising. So I took up crafting. I took up every craft, actually, I think, that exists.
I've seen some of your stuff on Facebook. It's amazing. All the, you know, crafting to Welshify it. That's arts and craft.
Yes, arts and
just
in
case people think it's witchcraft or something like that. Just to clarify.
Arts and crafts, so painting, wood burning, and all the rest. And I thought, you know what, this gives me a little bit of time because I never have time. I'm always going somewhere and doing something and helping somebody. And all of a sudden, I was shielding because I'm asthmatic, so I'm like, oh, I have so much time. So I delved into and started developing some crafts and that. Kind of gearing towards. I thought, you know what, we'll see this year out. We'll see what this COVID thing does, and then we'll plow forward with the album. And then January this year brought the unfortunate news that my husband was made redundant from his job of 16 years.
Wow.
And I just remember thinking, I was like, oh, I'm going to have to shelve this again. And then there was such a sense of just reimagine it. And I was like, okay, Okay, what do you mean by just reimagine it? Okay. So I chatted to Kat. I chatted to my really fab producer, Stu Reed, who's just an absolute legend. And I was like, right, what can I do? Because, you know, I have songs here that are about struggling. They're about not always having the answers. They're about life getting on top of you. They're about fear and they're about hope, and they're about Jesus, and they're about everything that we need right here in this minute. And Caroline's a very big advocate on releasing songs that are for the time. The Wired album was released in 2 halves because the songs were very much for the time that we were in.
Sure, yeah.
And I just chatted it over, and the compromise then was, well, do you know what? If I record an EP first, then I can, you know, fundraise for that a good bit easier than I could fundraise for a full album. Plus, it will give me music to share. So the EP is 4 tracks that will be eventually part of an album. And my handle that I create under is called Stumble Into Grace, because I have an awful habit of forgetting to be graceful and to be gracious. And I was in one particular situation where I had a disagreement with somebody, and it had really hurt. And I mean, I carried it for about 2 weeks, and the weight of it was crushing me.
Yeah.
And Caroline knows this because actually we were at a gathering to discuss moving forward with the Wired album. And one of the guys, Stephen, who was involved with Caroline's song there, he led a bit of prayer time, and he said, you know, if there's anybody here who's holding on to something or who's carrying something, you can't come and pray for other people if you're still carrying. And I actually opened my eye and looked at him, going, is he looking at me? You know, it was like,
Are you reading my mind? What's going on?
And, you know, and I remember going, I was like, God, I can't carry this anymore. I was like, I need you to take this from me. And, you know, we've all prayed that prayer, and quite often the answer is no, because you know what? There's blessings and lessons to be found in the things we carry. But that was the one and only time in my life God just went, okay. And literally like that, it was lifted.
Amazing.
And I remember, and I was like, whew, okay. I was like, well, what do you do now, God? You know, how do I speak to this person? This person's really hurt me. You know, how do I speak to them? And just as clear as a whistle, it was like, forgive him because I've forgiven you. Show him the grace that I have shown you. And I had started writing a song that was going to be a little bit Linkin Park in style because it came out of me angry. It's the only way I can describe it. It came out, I was like, oh! And I got together with a friend of mine, and we were jamming, and I started playing this really nice, easygoing, almost borderline country riff. And we were working on a completely different song, but the words to that one came to me, and the chorus came to me, and the chorus hadn't been written because I wasn't in a position with God to resolve it.
Sure.
And Stumble Into Grace became this really lovely song instead of this big angry song about, you know what, just give it to God. Let yourself fall into grace, you know, because sometimes we stumble into it by accident. And that has kind of become everything I do is stumble into grace, because that's my whole life. I am continually stumbling into grace whenever I forget to choose to be gracious.
Oh, bless you. Well, that's such a lovely story behind that song, and behind, you know, at Stumble Into Grace as well. And guys, if any of the subject matter this evening has really struck a chord with you, then please get in touch. We'd love to pray with you and listen to you as well. Please direct message us, and we'd love to get alongside you. So Louise, how can people help? Because I know for a fact, you know, if you're going to produce a top quality CD, EP, release, digital singles, etc., it costs money. That's the going price. It costs a lot of money. For instance, an average day in the studio can cost £400 a day upwards of studio time. So if you're going to do, and it sometimes takes more than one day, doesn't it, to do a song? So you're talking a lot of money that you need to produce these songs to the level that we produce them to, and the quality that we produce them to. So how can people support you, aside from obviously praying for you and getting alongside you? How can they really support you and get behind you?
I really struggle with asking people for money. It just goes against my grain. I'm very independent, and I'll
say it for you then. Give Louise money for her music. But where can they connect with you though, and get in touch with you to do that? Where can they do that?
They can find me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. It's Louise Campbell Stumble Into Grace. And that's the easiest way to find me, at Stumble Into Grace NI on Facebook or on Instagram. I do have a GoFundMe account. As I say, I suck at it, but God kind of chipped away at me, and he challenged me at one point because I wanted to buy a piano for my studio, so that I could write stuff and do a lot of stuff from home. And somebody offered me some money towards it. And I was like, absolutely not. And I just, again, had that voice go, why ask me for help if you're not going to take it? So I have been challenged a lot by God to put it out there. And God has. He has definitely delivered so many times. So yeah, I have a GoFundMe account. I do sell crafts. You can check them out on my Facebook page. So if you would like to support me and get something nice for yourself, I have a little Facebook group called Stumble Into Grace, the Art of Happiness. So, because it's all about uplifting Christian arts, not there. So yeah, just check me out on Facebook. And again, if there's anything that you want to talk about, pray about, if anything that I have said has resonated with you, please do say hello, because I'd really, really love to pray with you and for you.
Marvellous. Thank you so much, Louise. And it's Louise Campbell, Stumble Into Grace. Is that correct? I've typed it down there, and I don't know if I've got it right or wrong, but there you go. I'll tell you what, I'll share a post on my socials afterwards, guys, so you can check out how to get in touch with Louise. Well, thank you so much both for coming on tonight. Before we go, I'm just going to bring in Tabitha says, Stephen is my awesome hubby, of course. That's who you were referring to in your story. And Sarah Harkin's giving you a big clap emoji there. There we are.
Thank you, Sarah.
It is Tabitha, isn't it? I've said that right, because some people say Tabitha. It's Tabitha. There you go. Louise Campbell - Stumble Into Grace. That's what we need to check out, guys. I think that might even be a clickable link in the comment section there. Sarah says, well done. You spoke beautifully, Louise. You did indeed.
Thank you very much.
And talking about speaking beautifully, guys, Caroline, I'll come to you first. Anything you'd like to share before we say goodbye this evening?
Just to more Louise, just to commend you, sweetheart. Louise and I, we've such a connection, and we sit outside my house, not in lockdown, but I hear we talk and I hear your testimony so many times, but every time that I do, I'm always blown away by it. And it's so important for Christians to authentically share their story. It's that's what's going to bring people to God. There's a Bible verse, I can't remember the exact reference, but it says, we overcome by the word of our testimony. And it's so important to share these realities of what God is doing in our lives. And I love to listen to Louise's journey, and she tells it so well and so beautifully, and she writes beautifully too, if you ever see her posts or her poetry too. So yeah, it's just my sister from another mister.
Marvellous. And Louise, any parting words for our viewers before we say our goodbyes tonight?
Just to trust that nothing you have done is too much for God to handle, and sometimes you have to be brave. Sometimes you have to be willing to put yourself out there, and you know what? It can be a little bit scary sometimes, especially if your testimony is messy. I just want to say, do you know what? Very few of the good ones are squeaky clean, because God uses your mess and your brokenness, and He uses it mightily, and He does, reward isn't the right word, but He does honor you for being brave enough to put yourself out there for Him. So reach out, have the conversation, start the conversation, be willing to be part of the conversation, because God wants to hear from you. He loves you very, very much.
Thank you so much for saying so, and absolutely agree with that. I will see you both off air in just a moment. Thank you so much for being part of the programme tonight and sharing your beautiful songs with us.
Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Thank you for having us.
Well, there you go, guys. Caroline Crawford and Louise Campbell, part of the Wide Worship Collective. I'm proud to call them friends, and what an honour to share their wonderful music with you this evening. Thank you for tuning in. Tabitha says one more song. So I shouldn't really do this because the official lyric video has not been launched yet, but stuff it. I'm going to share my latest single with you, I Will Trust in You, which you can get here, and it's featuring Katy Treharne, my friend, who I hope to connect with the Wide Worship guys as well, because I think that'd be quite a powerful combination. I Will Trust in You. I hope it blesses you. It's based on Psalm 46, and please check that out. Also check out Revelation 12 verse 11, which Tabitha has shared there. Guys, thank you for tuning in. God bless you. Have an amazing weekend, and I will see you next week with some streams, and this lyric video will be premiering on YouTube next week, so keep in touch with the socials and I will fill you in as to what happened as well. But having said that, I should have a little video actually I wanted to share with you actually of, I was in the studio today and many of you submitted your voices. Basically we were trying to create a crowd for a new worship song I'm working on, so I thought I'd give you a little preview of that if I can find the video where on earth I've put it. But yeah, this is what happened in the studio today. Hello, I'm here at the studio where we're recording the crowd vocal for Jesus Christ My Lord. Thank you so much to everybody who's taken part. We've exceeded the 100 voices that we needed to create the crowd vocal. Ordinarily, of course, we'd get everybody in a room and record them, but with COVID and social distancing, that's not been possible. So everybody's recorded them individually singing this next bit. We're going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek. We're still mixing it, but Gary's been working really hard this morning. Gary, how are you feeling, mate? I feel...
Yeah, it's all good. All good. Lots of vocals. We managed to go through them all, and they're all in there. We've got 100 and some odd, 150, 120 vocals maybe. So we're just going through and making sure that they're all sounding sweet.
Brilliant. Okay, to have a little bit of a sneak peek.
Yeah, let's give it a little blast.
There you go. So I hope you enjoyed that little sneak peek, and please pray for Gary because he's mixing and mastering every single little clip that we've got, and there's a lot of them. So thank you very much for your help, and can't wait to share the track with you. See you later. There you go, and those prayers worked because Gary did an exceptional job, and we finished it shortly before we came on air. Then we had the technical problems, hence the delay tonight. So it is sounding mega. I've not actually listened to the final mix properly, so I'm going to go and do that now with a nice cup of tea. But I'm going to leave you. Thanks to Caroline and Louise once again for coming on the show tonight. Please check out their music, Wired Worship, and of course Louise Campbell, Stumble into Grace. This is the brand new single from me. It will be premiering next week, the official lyric video, but here it is for you, and I pray it blesses you. Check out Revelation 12:11, Psalm 46 in the Bible, and this is I Will Trust in You. Good night, God bless, take care and stay safe. God is with me. I need you near, and you are near. Yes, you are here, right by my side. I will trust in you, my Savior. I will trust in you. Perfect love that drives out fear, calls and holds me near, so I will trust in you. You are my refuge, you are my strength in times of